In this world of so much negative news, we need inspiration. Be Inspired is created for appreciative audiences just like you. So please be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss any of our upcoming inspiring stories.
It takes so much pressure of negativity coming at a person constantly over and over and over again to where they think, I can't do this anymore. And instead of checking out permanently, they just check out of society and they wind up homeless.
Be Inspired podcast. Real stories from real people. Sharing stories of love and loss, struggles and perseverance, laughter and tears, and overcoming adversity.
Sometimes the most extraordinary stories come from ordinary, everyday people, and our guest on this edition and this episode of Be Inspired has done a masterful job of capturing the very interesting stories of everyday people. Hi, I'm Bert Barron.
And I'm Lisa Anderson.
And we welcome you to Be Inspired. And it's true, Lisa, sometimes just the person who you pass on the boardwalk at the Jersey Shore, or maybe you walk right by in Atlantic City, is somebody that has such a story and such a captivating story to tell that sometimes I feel like we're missing out because we can't just talk to everybody. But everybody really has a story.
They do. Everyone has a story. And most of them are what you wouldn't expect.
This is true. Yeah. And our guest who's with us here today has done an incredible job of capturing these stories for so many people. He is Gregory Andrus, who is with us here. He's an author, speaker, photographer, and founder of Portraits of the Jersey Shore. And Gregory, it's great to have you on set with us on Be Inspired today.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here. This is an amazing crew, and both of you and Lisa, thank you very much.
It's really true. You just never know what story or a tale that they can tell. You know, it just looks like there's no such thing as a common everyday person because every person is uncommon.
You know what's interesting is that there have been many times when I approach people, there's complete strangers, and I say, can I interview you? You know, and they'll say, well, I don't have anything interesting to say. Right. But within 3 questions, they're telling me some of the profound, deep things that they tell me it's like a therapist session, you know? These are people who are like, I have nothing to share. I don't have an interesting story until they do.
And they don't think it's interesting.
They don't.
Yeah.
And it's just like, no, you are interesting. You are inherently an interesting, worthy person of being asked this question.
Yeah, and you find the extraordinary within the ordinary, I think, Gregory. And your stories are on Facebook, Portraits of the Jersey Shore. I think you have 29,000 followers now? 29,000 followers. That's incredible. Did you ever think that this would happen?
No.
Never. That's a story.
Every day I thank God that I have this incredible opportunity.
Yeah, it's just came out of something that, your life. When you were first starting out, you didn't think or imagine this would ever come to be. You didn't have an easy time. I know, without going into detail, what was it like for you in your younger years?
Yeah. So me and my 2 sisters who are younger than me grew up in a very violent, unsafe home at the hands of our father. And I was also bullied tremendously in school, so I wasn't safe anywhere, either at home or in school. And the teachers turned a blind eye to both. And I remember there'd be times I would just be crying, 10 years old crying. I would just say, God, I just want to make something of my life. I just want to prove myself, I think that I can honestly say that God's answered that prayer, but it's not because it's about me, it's because it's about other people, which I'm much more grateful for, because I wouldn't want to have some kind of like position where people are looking at me as something. I want it to be a reflection of everyone else is something really special. But I had quite a journey to get there.
Yeah, and you have the empathy that goes along with it. You could see it right away. You just have that way of, because you experience what you did, growing up in a home where there's such unhappiness that right away, you could have gone either way. I think you could have gone the way of bitter and angry, but you turn that into compassion and empathy for others.
Well, I was very bitter for a long time.
Were you?
Very. I was a very angry, hurting person. And when I was 13 years old, I discovered alcohol could numb the pain. And by the time I was 16, I was in a month-long rehab for alcoholism, 16 years old, because I drank so much, because it was the only way I knew to deal with it.
Yeah.
And by the time I was 20, I was full-blown alcoholic and was living in the woods in a tent, working. But all the money I made was spent on alcohol. Yeah.
You know, you hear of stories. We have a lot of folks around here that are intense in the woods. And if you spoke to them, you think, well, how in the world did, some people, how would you wind up in a tent in the woods? The stories are why. They weren't, right away, it wasn't always that way. It's just a series of mishaps, like you said, to numb the pain.
Well, like I always said, no one, when they're in third grade and fills out the paper, what do you want to be when you grow up? No one says, I want to be homeless.
Right.
No one
Exactly.
endeavors, thinks, this is something that you never thought of. But
Never.
when you look at homelessness, mostly stems from drug addiction or alcoholism, which when you peel the layer back, it comes from mental illness, which when you peel that layer back, it comes from abuse. So there's many layers, many different components that are coming together to really. It takes so much pressure of negativity coming at a person constantly, over and over and over again, to where they think, I can't do this anymore. And instead of checking out permanently, they just check out of society and they wind up homeless.
Yeah. And when was it that it turned around, the anger and the bitterness for you, Gregory?
Well, it was a long time. I mean, I went through most of my 20s. I was in a punk band where I was able to filter a lot of the anger through my music. On again, off again, homeless. On again, off again, alcoholic. I tried Alcoholics Anonymous. I tried therapy. I tried institutions. I tried, hopefully, if I can just find the right girlfriend, that she can turn me around. And there were a lot of women out there who thought they could be my savior, but I had to do it. I had to, and I wasn't ready, and I didn't believe in myself enough. And I was 28 years old when I finally had that turnaround, and it came in the most incredible, dire circumstance where I was on the sidewalk really late at night, and there was a police chase in a car down the street around the corner from us, and the car crashed. And next thing I know, the suspect turned the corner onto my street, and he ran past me. He was on the street next to the sidewalk. I was on the sidewalk, and the cop turned the corner, and he discharged his weapon. And next thing I knew, I was in the street with my head in some young lady's lap, and I was just excruciating pain in my head. People screaming and crying all around me, and the girl kept saying, squeeze my hands, don't fall asleep. And I realized I was the one who was shot. I was shot by the police officer, and I realized that this is how my life is going to end. I have nothing to show for it. This is it.
Wow. I mean, we've heard stories of,
Yeah.
incredible odds against, what are the odds of that happening to you?
Wow.
But it sounds to me like that was a turning point for you, Gregory.
Yeah. Miraculously, I survived. And then it was just miracle after miracle after miracle. First was that after a lot of physical therapy, I was able to get my functions back, and I was able to move and think and breathe and talk and all this stuff, which was really amazing. Also, I really believed it was God who spared my life, and I wanted to know who this God was. Like, why? And after spending a year just trying to figure it out, I found this beautiful answer in Jesus, who I saw not in the way that people see him as some kind of political like thing, but just as this beautiful image of God who came to earth to love us, to love someone like me, and all these people who are homeless and tents and drug addicts and alcoholics. These are the people he came for, and I resonated with that, and that changed my life. And I also, when I was in the hospital recovering, there was this young woman who came to visit me because it was at her friend's house that I got shot outside of her friend's house at a party. She wasn't there, but her friend had been trying to set up a blind date with me and this young lady, which she never wanted to do. Of course, she never saw me. If she saw me, she definitely wanted to see me, But no, she had no idea who I was. And I didn't see her again for 4 months. I didn't even remember seeing her. And I met her at a Halloween party. And after talking to her, when I saw her, I knew she's the only person in that party I wanted to talk to. And we talked for 5 hours.
Wow.
And after talking for a while, she realized I was the person that she visited in the hospital. And it was only after dating for a few months that she had the courage to tell me that she had actually been at the hospital. And for me, that was the most important thing that she could have told me, because she was there at ground zero when my whole life was changed. And I could spend the rest of my life with this person. And we did. We wound up getting married 2 years later.
Wow.
And now we have 2 amazing boys, Jacob, who's 12, Elijah, who's 9. We have 2 crazy dogs. Everybody in our house is crazy except for Mary, So it's an incredibly beautiful life. And that all flows into what I do with Portraits of the Jersey Shore.
Yes. Yes, indeed. The stories, they're similar to what, the folks that we talk to. And it just, I don't know, it just, every season I told Bert, that person was so incredible. This was the best season. Every season, it just, transcends that. And I don't know, Bert, it's just getting these stories is really, I think, what folks want to read about.
You're right. We remind you that this season of Be Inspired is made possible by IGA Nephropathy Foundation. And Gregory, browsing some of the stories that you've put together in Portraits of the Jersey Shore, there was one story of a young lady that really resonated with me, where she talked about how she felt her life no longer had value, that she was just an object to be used by people. She was a young mom. Her first name escapes me. I know you do identify people by first name. She's an object to people. She's worthless. She had a young child that she lost. You tell her story, but then you go to the next level where you say, well, we still have contact with her. If anybody can offer any assistance to this person, reach out to me, and we're going to make a connection. Is that part of this as well, just being as maybe a hub of a spoke of a wheel to get assistance and get help for other people who are struggling with issues?
I'm incredibly, by far the most grateful is the fact that I have 29,000 people who follow my page who have incredible depth of compassion and empathy. And the page, the success it has is because of the people who gravitate towards the page. And so when I share such a story as that, the people are just saying, tell me where and when and how, and we're on it. And it's incredible.
Yeah.
I would like to share one other story. For example, this is just the incredible feature of just how great this community is at Portraits of the Jersey Shore. I was getting a cup of coffee at Wawa. I wasn't representing Portraits of the Jersey Shore. I actually had somewhere to go. And like I do, I asked the cashier, how are you doing? And she proceeded to tell me how she was living in a shelter for women and children with domestic violence. And she's telling me this, and there's a long line. It's morning. People want to get to work. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm going to go back to the back of the line, and I want to hear more. And I went back to the back of the line 2 more times until finally the manager came and said, I can take her off the register so you can talk to her.
Yeah.
And so she shared how she had a 15-year-old daughter who was turning 15-year-old daughter who was turning 16. She didn't even have 2 pennies to rub together to give her a sweet 16 birthday party. I shared it on my page, and within 2 weeks, there was through the people who follow my page, an Elks Lodge that was rented out. There was a 3-tier cake that was donated. Wow. A dress for the daughter, a suit for the brother. There was presents for the daughter, presents for the son, presents for the woman. There was a car that was donated to the mom. There was a place that they were able to stay. They just took care of them.
Wow.
Just took care of them. And I went to that sweet 16 birthday party, and it was a party. So it just shows the commitment and the depth that people are willing to go to really bless someone that appears on my page who has that need.
Well, I reached out to you and you did a story with me, and I appreciate that. And it helped a lot of women throughout that who had suffered the loss of a child. So I will be forever grateful to that. You have a project, down the shore. It's our lifeguards don't always get the recognition.
You're right.
That they deserve. And truly, I mean, we just think, oh, it's an easy job. They're sitting there all day, sunscreen on. Those men and women they work so hard. Your book coming out, tell us about that, Gregory, and what led to that?
Yeah, as I go through life and I look back sometimes I look back at what it could have been if I had more confidence in myself, and all these different things. And one of the things is, if I was more healthy mentally when I was a teenager, I would have loved to have been a lifeguard. And that's something that, because I love the ocean and I love helping people and I love just the whole thing. But obviously that wasn't to be. So I wanted to honor them instead. And so I went out last summer and visited over 25 beach patrols, interviewed over 50 lifeguards, photographed them in really beautiful settings on the beach, interviewed them, a high definition recorder where I put this all together in a book. Half the interviews are going to be text where you read them. The other half, they're going to be QR codes where you can scan them and you can hear the lifeguards in their own voice talking about the rescues, talking about what it's like to be a lifeguard and so forth. And it's going to be a really, really awesome book. And I want it to be the beach book of this summer. So
I believe it will. I really do. It's like, do you prefer going on the road or getting stories from people who write to you? Because I know I had mentioned someone who, I was hoping that you could do. You're inundated. You're inundated with stories that you highlight. He has right now a young mom that has cancer, and you're helping her. And how do you pick? How do you choose? Would you rather just go out and get the stories, or are you so busy getting stories from other folks?
Yeah. My joy is to be able to, my great hope is to be able to go out there and meet people.
To connect.
Because when they're done sharing their story, I give them a hug.
I knew you were going to.
I give them a hug, and it's so important to me and to them to affirm them as human being. And I feel affirmed too as a human being. Yeah. We're in this together. We're all in this together. We're all humans. We all need each other. And I have a third book that I'm going to be writing as soon as this book is done, which is going to be called Dear Human. It's going to be released in 2024, the year of the election. And it's going to be talking about how we need to see each other as human beings again. We need to look at each other, not as an opponent, Democrat, Republican, whatever. We need to see each other as image bearers of God, human beings, that we're all in this together. We need each other, and we cannot deviate from that. We got to get together here, So that's going to be my third book, but I have to finish this one first. But so
you got plans.
I have a lot of people who write to me. I can't get to all of them. Honestly, I can't even read all of them. But I just had to say no to someone today who asked me for a GoFundMe. And the thing is, I can't turn my page into a GoFundMe page. It never was the intention.
Right.
There's some people that I gravitate towards, like if they're really critical, like this woman is. Her last chance is a bone marrow transplant. If this doesn't work, I don't even want to say the words, but, and she has no insurance. Like her family, she was a teacher and she had to retire early. And because she had to retire early, she doesn't have any insurance now. And it's going to cost $12,000 a month to pay off this. This is the kind of stuff that I'm like, okay, I have to pull the fullness of what I can do for my page to help her. And I'm going to be sharing her a couple more times to get people to help raise money for her. And I did meet with her, and I did give her a big hug. I met with her at Divvy Tree, the coffee shop. So,
how do you absorb all the pain sometimes from these, and maintain, the hope that you have and the love that you have? Because we were talking about it's easy to get bogged down by, oh my gosh, there's so much sadness here. There's so much. It's tough. Mm-hmm. How do you do that? Your faith?
My faith. I mean, I've had people I've interviewed who had died like months or years, a few years later that I just I've seen some hard things.
I'm sure.
But I'm a man of deep faith, and I live 12 minutes from the beach. which is incredible. And
Yeah.
I have a golden retriever who we go on long walks together. Him and I. His name is Blue.
Yeah.
He's like Tigger. I love him. And he and I had the same extroverted energy. So if you see the two of us together, forget about it. But we have so much fun together, and I love going for long walks with him on the beach. And so I had to keep moving forward. Because I battled depression my whole life. Portraits of the Jersey Shore pulled me out of depression, and I keep going. I don't return back to that because I have more people I have to meet, more people I have to help, more people I have to feature their dignity to others.
People are starving for that connection.
Yeah, it's
Do you
true.
feel that? They
Yeah.
really are. And I love the fact that you put yourself out there just enough that, you say, like, it's 80 degrees. I need to be at the beach. And I laugh because I feel the same way. It's that connection, that human connection that we are craving. We all are craving. And it's become a community. Incredible. But you need a secretary, I think, to handle everything.
I think so.
And your new work, too. I love to get to the Jersey Shore nice and early. I get there, I beat the traffic. I love being out on the beach nice and early. And I watch what goes on with the lifeguards, how they have these unwritten rules. Because you'll have a crew of lifeguards, and there'll be the veteran kind of guy who's been there season after season. And he'll go and he'll wait for the new guys to get the shovel and scoop out a little sand.
They do.
And they set
You're
up,
right.
and the guy climbs up. Like, you know what? When I was you, I used to do that. Now you do the digging.
That's right.
And, there's two types of people in this world, those who dig and those who get to sit. You dig, right? So
I
that's
earned
how it
that.
works.
Yeah.
That's right.
So look for you Facebook, Instagram for now for Portraits of the Jersey Shore.
Yeah, and then online.
and join the movement, right?
My
That's
website,
what it's about.
if you want to sign up for the email, which is going to let people know when the book order is ready, potjs.com is the easy way to do it. potjs.com, which is portraitsofthejerseyshore.com.
Exactly. I'm so thrilled to finally meet you and have you on, and so many people just wait for Gregory's story.
Certainly an inspiration, no doubt it. I am liking those pages now, too. Gregory Andrus, thank you for joining us and Be Inspired. Keep up the amazing work, and thank you again for being here today.
Thank you both
Thank
very
you,
much.
Gregory.
I'm Burt Barron,
And I'm Lisa Anderson.
and thank you for joining us on Be Inspired.
Hi, I'm Gregory Andrus, and I am with Portraits of the Jersey Shore, which is a community which can be found on Facebook, Instagram, on my website. And I'm here because we all need to remember that we are not alone. We all need each other, and we need to remember that as we go forward, that we are here for each other. And that's what my page is devoted to.
Next on Be Inspired.
So I started to lose my hearing when I was first diagnosed. I had stage 4 squamous cell carcinoma of the head and neck. It metastasized to my lungs. Tumors are in the brain area. Music has been everything. I mean, started when I was really, really little. I used music to share. I did get a cochlear implant. It's been very different to try to learn how to sing again since not singing for a very long time. I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day, I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again.
Be Inspired with your hosts Burt Barron and Lisa Anderson Puleo. Directed by Rod Weber, created and produced by Michael R. Doyle. Co-producers Burt Barron, Lisa Anderson Puleo, Rebecca Gruber, and Erwin Sternberg. Executive producers Rod Weber and Sean M. Sternberg. Editor Rebecca Gruber. Filmed at New Beginnings Foundation, Wall Township, New Jersey. The IJ Nephropathy Foundation was established in 2004 to find better treatments and ultimately a cure for this chronic kidney disease, which can end in dialysis and needing a kidney transplant. For more information, please visit IGAN.org. In this world of so much negative news, we need inspiration. Be Inspired is created for appreciative audiences just like you. So please be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss any of our upcoming inspiring stories. Be Inspired is filmed in front of a live audience. If you would like to attend a filming of Be Inspired, or if you know someone who has an inspirational story that should be shared with the world, please contact us at info@mrdproductionsllc.com. mrdproductionsllc.com. That's info at mrdproductionsllc.com.